Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Hepworth again. I'm making this video as a behind the scenes how-to video for your final exam project where you have to choose a book that you read this year and explain how it has challenged your way of thinking and influenced your life in some way. Maybe you've already started to make those changes in your life, or maybe you're still thinking about it, but you just need to push yourself to take that next step. First, you should know that I was debating between two books when I started the project. Some of you know that I read this one, How to Be a Victorian, which is a nerd awesome book that I love. And then this is the one that I actually did the project on, The Out of My Mind by Sharon M. Draper. Originally, I started with this one because I love history and I'm a reenactor and I do living history things. I work at Old World, Wisconsin in the summer. It definitely influenced my way of thinking, but as I started to put my presentation together, I was 10 or 11 slides in, okay, maybe more like 13. And things just weren't working out. I couldn't wrap my mind around the ideas. I didn't like how I was saying certain things. It was a huge struggle for me. And I started this project a few weeks ago, stopped, put it aside, thought about things, went back to it. When I went back to it, I completely revised everything, the order that I was presenting my ideas, what I was, like the wording I was using, and it just wasn't very good. And I thought, oh no, this is not happening. If I'm not satisfied with it, there's no way I can stand up and record it myself giving a speech on it and then expect to do a good job and then have you watch this speech and see it as a good example. So here's the original. Didn't work out. So I completely scratched it and started fresh with the Out of My Mind book. That one went so much better. I probably spent half the time working on it because I started one thing and then everything just kind of fell into place. I'm looking back at my revision history and it looks like it just took me a couple of hours, probably 2-ish hours to put everything together and finalize my wording and get things formatted. So first thing you should know, you need to spend some amount of time on this. 20 minutes in class probably isn't going to be enough. I spent 2 hours and I have things to do after school. I have papers to grade, that's my homework. I have friends to play with and videos to watch on YouTube, so I fit it in, you can too. As I was going through and preparing for the speech part, I realized that I wanted to be able to have extra notes for myself. So I made note cards, and you probably saw me holding these when I was speaking. One thing you should know, I didn't put anything on the back because I figured if I'm holding them like this during the video, I don't want people to see my writing because that could be distracting to my speaker. So I only have stuff written on the one side. There it is up close. One side, nothing on the back. The next thing I did, I really recommend doing this because it helped me a lot when I was up in front making my speech. At the very bottom corner, I'm gonna put this way up close. Way up close, can't see, backwards. There it is, right there. I numbered all of my note cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that way, in case I dropped them when I was speaking, I could quickly put them back in order. Here's the next part you should know. I was going along and I think I recorded myself one time. I didn't like what I had said because once I said it out loud, I was like, oh no, that's not good. So I changed it, and these are my 2 note cards that I had to revise and tweak. So I recopied some information, added some stuff, threw some other stuff out, and then I got rid of these cards and made 2 new ones. I know you can't read that, but you don't really need to. The next thing I did on my note cards, besides numbering them, at specific slides, I had extra information than what was on the slide, and so I numbered slide 4, and then I put a little note to myself what the slide was about, and then I did bullet points. And you can see that some of my information is written out in full sentences, some of it isn't, and that's just a personal preference. I tried really hard when I was looking at my note card to not be reading it too much. So I tried to look up at the camera and speak in a way that made it sound like I wasn't necessarily reading. Sometimes it might have sounded like I was, sorry. I also put a note for myself at one point where I needed to hit the clicker to change the slide because I needed the next slide to appear for this next question to make sense. So I did put little cues to myself so I knew when to click. Also really helpful. Another little cue, I put closing thoughts. So this information was read after I had read the information on my last slide. I had to say this stuff because this tied everything together. If you do want to take a look at my note cards and you're not in my class, feel free to stop by. You're more than welcome to browse through them and to look at the PowerPoint slides again so you can see how everything fits together. If you're in my class, during class time, just ask to see these and just make sure you give them back to me so I can have a record for next year when I do this project again. The other thing you should know about my performance, what you saw was a complete take. I didn't pause the camera and splice any parts together. I call that a clean take. I don't know what the technical term is. I probably took 7 different videos before I was finally satisfied with my presentation. I messed up a few times. I clicked the clicker and the slide didn't change and something else popped up. It was really awkward and obnoxious, and I had to practice a lot, and that's a good thing. If I hadn't practiced and I put up some crappy video for you to watch, you'd probably think I was really bad at public speaking and making videos and taking my own final exam. If you want to see any of those not so great videos, the practice speeches, as I will call them, I have them here on my computer. You can feel free to watch them. I'm not going to post them on the internet anywhere. When your teachers give you class time to work on this, make sure you ask questions. Make sure you're constantly checking your work for spelling mistakes, making sure that it says what you want it to say. Make sure you always have the rubric in front of you so that you are double checking that you're meeting all of the requirements. That is one thing that I had to have with me while I was completing my slides. If you haven't looked at the handout yet that explains all of this, it's on the Moodle, it's on my teacher website, and I had the handout up and my slides up so I could go back and forth between the two to make sure that I was doing what I was asking you to do. Rubric, look at it, use it. That's all I have for the behind the scenes feature video. Again, feel free to stop by and ask me anything. Remember, I coach forensics, so if you also want to have a little practice session and we can coach you and talk you through this project, and you can try out your presentation so you've said it once, so when you get up to say it in front of the class again, you've said it a few times already. I also highly recommend giving your performance to your family or your pets. Basically anybody who can give you some feedback about your speaking abilities. Okay, I guess pets aren't so good at giving feedback. I don't even know if they look at you when you're speaking, but your family will. So practice, practice, practice. Thanks.